Hello, friends. I'm excited once again to do another early career designer portfolio review. Today, I have Reid Slaughter, and Reid is a designer focused on data-centric and enterprise apps. Okay, that's fun. All right, so what's really interesting is that when I take in the folks on the form just to say, hey, I'd love to get my portfolio reviewed, I ask some questions. And most of the time, let's be real, a lot of the questions are like, I don't really know what I don't know. I'm open to any feedback, no problem. Well, what I love and the reason I really want to call this out for Reid is that he does not have the traditional background. He's done a lot of learning on his own. I'm actually making assumptions about how Reid identifies here, so I probably should just default to they, like I've been working to do. They say, I'm never done learning, and I've also never done a formal UX design program. So that's really interesting. A lot of the portfolios I see are coming through boot camps, right? So I ask, how do you feel about your portfolio currently? And Reid says, after many revisions to improve my chances of landing a job, I think it's good. However, I still don't have a job yet. Therefore, there must be something sufficiently wrong with it that I'm not competitive. So Reid, I also need you to know that that's not an assumption that you can actually make, because the industry is just in, I don't even want to say dumpster fire mode. It really just feels like trash can fire. Like we don't know what's going on with the industry. And I think a lot of it has to do with market forces that have nothing to do with the actual hiring managers who are reviewing folks. So please know, I think my prediction is that this is going to get better next year around this time. So that's an entire year to continue to work on your portfolios. And this isn't just for you, Reid, because I haven't looked at your stuff. I'm actually saying this kind of to everybody. There is plenty of time for you to get any paying job. I need you to know, get your bills paid, take care of yourself, and let's continue working on your UX design portfolio. And let's really polish that up. Right now, the market is just not hiring for early career designers. It's not you, it's the market. And I know that sucks to hear, because I'm sure there's somebody on your timeline who just got hired and is super, super excited about that. But it's atypical right now for early career designers. Like, ask any senior right now. We're all looking at the market going, what is happening? So it's not you. So you didn't do a boot camp, but Reid has had experience at small companies and nonprofits. So this is fantastic. Another thing I wanted to point out was I really appreciate the way I asked, what kind of feedback would you be looking for? What would be helpful for you? And Reid said, assuming my resume is fine, my portfolio would have to be why I haven't landed a position yet. In 30 seconds, what understanding of my skills, contributions, the problem solved do I get, me as the reviewer? After reading a case study entirely, what understanding do you have? Are those understandings different? And from the perspective of a hiring manager, if I applied to a job and you were reviewing my content, what would cause you to pass on me? What would cause you to want to interview? Reid, I love you so much for asking the important questions. These are not questions that run across my desk very often. It is so important that you are intuitive and, turning to look back at yourself and go, okay, what can I do better? What can I do differently? So let's do a portfolio review, but I bet we're not going to see anything dramatically terrible on here. It's just my guess. You seem intuitive already. Okay. 30 seconds. I wish I had one of those put a timer on the clock. I think in 30 seconds, Reid's a designer focused on data-centric and enterprise apps. You have a bachelor's degree in graphic design, various industries, reduce onboarding time, improve business unit revenue, and launch new products. Okay, let's see. This looks good. Okay, so in 30 seconds, I feel like you have a general idea of layout and you understand to get to the point. You know that whoever's coming here is probably busy, has lots of things going on, and they are going through a list of candidates as a hiring manager. So immediately I understand who you are. I get a real general sense of like the kind of person you are. I love your smile. I love this picture. And then I also will say, I love that you actually have a data policy on here. So I improved this site by using Microsoft Clarity to see how you use my website. By using my site, you agree that Microsoft and I can collect and use this data. This is awesome. And you have a full privacy statement. Like that is awesome. Honestly, this is advice that I give to small businesses when I review their website for accessibility and usability. Put that privacy statement over here too. Like you could put in a second column, like just meta stuff, like things that are important but like need to be accessible. But the fact that this is already here, and I guarantee it probably goes to the other pages as well. This looks fantastic. 30-second evaluation. I think you come off as a knowledgeable and normal person. Like this is also probably a weird perspective to throw in there, but like normal, like you're not giving any weird red flags right off the bat. So like that's a positive. And I'm thinking of this in the perspective of a hiring manager who has probably looked at 20 of these, 100, who knows how many they've looked at. So you're not throwing any weird red flags. If there was anything that I would do, it would be to update this to be less third person and more me personally introducing myself to you. And then I would probably get a slightly higher quality picture, but like still a phone picture, totally fine. But maybe even like edit what's around it. There are some tools that you can use. I know Canva has a background remover. There are apps that you can use to do that. And maybe just make it less about the vibrant colors of the background, which make me go, what's going on here? I'm nosy and curious, and focus completely on who you are. So if anything, for like the immediate 30-second view, it would mostly be tell me who you are, but say it in a way like you're talking to me, not about yourself. This is very much like the book jacket, like an author's like so-and-so lives with their 3 cats in upstate New York or something. So yeah. All right. So in terms of how you're presenting yourself, so I see that you're separating but combining. So data-centric apps and enterprise apps are not necessarily like, they don't need to be 2 different labels. So I would tighten this up to say something like, I'm a designer who loves to make data, large amounts of data make sense, something like that. So you're saying, I work with enterprise software products and they're very heavy on the data and information. So I want to help people have a better experience with all of the information that they're trying to process. So I would probably reword that a little bit. Also, what do we got? Enhanced onboarding experience for mobile accounting app, creating employee rate data. New web portal improves fleet manager productivity. And reduce data issue resolution time for fleet manager by 90%. I love that you've actually separated these out. That's fantastic. And then you've got your info services tech, making it easier to access library materials on the go. So let's see. I don't know which of these I want to click on. Part of me, all right, so we're going back to this. You're a designer focused on data-centric and enterprise apps. So I don't know if onboarding is necessarily what gives me excitement. The problem with onboarding is this does look like it's for a real company though. Ooh, we have a video powered by Loom. All right, hold up. I'm excited about this. The other ones have this. What's going on here? Monthly vehicle repair report. Okay, proposed designs and prototype a web portal for uploading vehicle repair reports. Oh gosh, I'm so excited about this one. I want to see this video, but I also want to see this other stuff. Oh my God, Reid, this is awesome already. All right, I'm getting myself all crazy. All right, tech-enabled consistency. That does not tell me, all right, give me something a little bit more. And I really mean this like in a marketing way. What would make a hiring manager want to click on this? Also, is that new web portal improves fleet manager productivity? And then it comes in, we say tech-enabled consistency. That's a disconnect for me because it lacks consistency. So if we're going to start here and we want to look at like the logistics tech B2B, I just wanted to see if those buttons did anything. That's really fun. All right, so they're just tags. New web portal improves fleet manager productivity. So this is fleet management solution, and the new web portal. So I would take that title and I would also add something here. So not in creating employee rate data, give me something like UX and UI design, user research, something. Tell me what tasks you did a little bit so that I get a sense of what I'm about to jump into when I go to your case study. New web portal improves fleet manager productivity. I want this to be something just a little bit more compelling. So what is it? What problem did you solve? Let's find out what the problem is. So we know your role as the UX designer, proposed, designed, and prototyped a web portal for uploading vehicle repair reports. So this is probably what that title is. So enabling tech consistency by creating a web portal for uploading vehicle repair reports. Tell me what it is that I'm getting into. All right, so I'm assuming that this icon means bottlenecked. This is the part of the process. This was the problem. You're like, this is the blocker that is causing us to be stressed out, this bottlenecked process. But what this particular icon, and I'm giving this to you as an elder millennial who has spent more time than I'd like to tell you on GeoCities and Angel Fire in the early 2000s, this means under construction. So without meaning to, you're telling me that this case study isn't done yet. And I don't think that's what you intend. So I would say the problem, semicolon or colon, bottlenecked process. So the vehicle repair data management process at Access, the ADA complimentary paratransit service for functionally disabled individuals in Los Angeles County, relied on manual input and verification by the fleet manager who managed 3,300 vehicles. That's too much. This approach results in inefficiencies, errors, and a significant time burden on the manager. So we've got some cute AI pictures. I love the cram full of data over here because that looks like exactly what he deals with. Once a month, service vendors provide a vehicle repair report via email to the fleet manager. Interesting, which probably means the format varies. Manual verification, the spreadsheets are verified manually. Data issues result in phone calls with technicians. I would call out that adds time. So how many times has he had to have phone calls with technicians? This is information that is a metric. So how many data issues typically per month was he running into? How many phone calls would that mean? So even if you can't do like the specific math, you could say resulting in somewhere between 5 and 25 calls per month at a minimum of 5 minutes per call, because you got to pick up the phone, you got to dial, you got to make sure you dial it correctly, you got to find the person, maybe you get a office manager or someone and you finally get the person on the phone. And even if you only need to verify one piece of data, it's 5 minutes per phone call. So like if that's 5 minutes a day, if that's 25 minutes a day, if that's 2 hours a day, like that adds time. And then you can also say at the end of the project how much time on estimate was saved. If any error occurred, the data would be deleted, fixed in the report, and re-uploaded as many times as it would take. Ooh, that's scary. Got a GIF here, okay? Despite doing diverse systems unified codes. This is, I can feel where you're going with this. You've got the concept that we should be able to scan through your case study and tell the story from the headlines. It's okay to make the headlines longer than you think you might need. Like maybe 3 full with lines isn't totally necessary, but a tiny bit more information would be helpful. I'm also curious how we've got so much okay, this is so fun. I feel like maybe we're not using as much width as we could for as much content as on the screen. So if you've got these going all full width, it kind of feels weird that the main content is only so much wide. So I would probably bring these down. It's just a skewed size comparison. All right, where was I? Okay, so despite doing similar maintenance and repairs on the same fleet of vehicles, each service vendor tracked work with different codes. Oh, this sounds like a nightmare. The fleet manager was responsible for ensuring that prior to upload to the fleet management system, their reports used the correct repair codes, amazing, from Access's master list. This process consumed most of the fleet manager's time monthly. Yeah, that is exactly what I was anticipating. So you're telling a really good story about how big of a problem this is. Any issue required following up with a shop technician from the service provider to confirm data accuracy. 3,300 vehicles. After the design solution, after interviewing the fleet manager to get an understanding of their business goals, process, and problem, I proposed a solution, a web portal. Collective Fleet would conduct the data sanity checks and send email notifications if anything went wrong. I noticed this on the front page as well. Don't use an ampersand unless you're kind of in a title or something, but typically grammar-wise, we wouldn't use the ampersand or the and sign. We would just type out the word and. So it just adds a teeny tiny level of professionalism. So make those tiny updates, but it's probably not going to be a big deal. I'm just nitpicky. Further, the shop technicians could upload the reports themselves versus sending them to the fleet manager via email. I don't know how many vehicles each person has, but like, let's say they only did 10 vehicles, that's still 330 emails from different places. That is a lot. So within the existing fleet maintenance system, a web portal was designed for the service vendors. Was it already designed? Okay. Or is this what you designed? Is this the design solution is creating the web portal? I want to make sure I'm clear about that and you're not just redesigning something that exists, which is totally fine, but this feels like a net new feature. User can search and filter records for specific monthly report. Data verification flags records. Incorrect code is helpful. Option to fix imported data in app. Fixes are propagated to any other records with the exact same error, thereby saving time. Records without an error status are pushed to the real data tables on save. Oh gosh, this seems amazing already. This list can be filtered by date, service vendor, and status, or even its sublist item details like work code. If you could pull that last word up here, that would feel really good. Users can view a short list of each month's report. Multiple months can be selected at once. The import built for the customer expects CSV format. Okay. Constraints. All design decisions were constrained by the proprietary app editors from which all collective data applications are built from. Yep. So it's probably we're white labeling a third-party app service that you're just like, yeah, we're serving this up to you, which is why you don't have like programmers on the other end who can do custom work. This is totally normal. My design decisions were based on what elements the user needed to interact with on a particular view, what data it was referencing, and what logic could be implemented to aid the user. Creative to solve user problems when you couldn't implement a more obvious solution. That I would honestly highlight because that's a big deal. I needed to get creative. I needed to find ways around when I cannot implement a direct solution. Nice. Recreation of the vendor web portal view from Collective Fleet, pictured above, is a scenario for the San Gabriel Transit Shop for their April 2024 upload. They have 3 repair codes errors. Each vendor is provided with their own login. This is good. From there, they can upload their monthly report and make changes on the fly, and they can only see their own data. Fantastic. Sanity check flow. This simplified flow was used in meetings with the customer to drive clarity and confirm the functionality. User uploads the monthly report, data sanity check vehicle number. Does vehicle number pass? Yes. Repair code, does it pass? Yes. Technician costs? No. Flag imported record is having an issue. Email trigger, unsuccessful upload email. We're not worried about the email right now, but now I have questions about like, oh, what happens to that? Does that mean it doesn't save or does that mean it does save, but that information is flagged only? Does labor cost pass? Yes. Email. Okay. I'm curious about what happens in the unhappy path when things don't go as expected, but that might be addressed later in the case study. But it also could be something that you could speak to in like a portfolio review interview. Advanced data checks. This simplified flow is used in meetings with the customer. That's right. Proactive alerts. A new dynamic email system was set up to inform the service providers of a successful upload or an upload resulting in flagged records. So this sounds like the upload can flag records for the person sending the upload as opposed to waiting until it reaches the fleet manager and then validating it. Nice. Dynamic email trigger. A bit of unexpected data. Following table lists the errors received, records with missing or invalid. Okay, this is actually a very interesting visual because this is not everyone's going to sit and read this, but I really like that it's got, here's the check. If there's missing or invalid assets, inactive assets, missing work codes that are inactive, does not have a valid work class set. This is great. No, that is a good enough summary of what they're going to see. You might add a little snippet, like a caption under there, but it's fine. Empowered vendor access. With the new functionality, vendors could easily upload their files. The system would verify their repair data and they could quickly resolve any data issues in app. For consistency, I would put that information above the visual so that it's like proactive alerts. These are the dynamic email and the alerts that people will get. And this is the empowered vendor access. This looks like kind of like a mock-up with animation, which I actually really love. So it's basically like this is the experience without giving away anybody's data. This is a really good example of how you can strip out all of the like nitty-gritty pixel perfect details and any identifying data so that it's not shown under NDA and you're not breaking your NDA. But this is a great way to communicate what you solved for. Yes, I really love this. I kind of want to use this as your I want to put this on LinkedIn. Like that's a really good way to show the experience without exposing your information or your company, the company you worked for's data. I love this. Okay. Significant challenges. Yeah, put that right above there. The project was not without its challenges. Take out the, I was like double checking the grammar in my brain, or the apostrophe use, take out the apostrophe. The two main roadblocks came from the verification. Also, when I call out, just like for everybody's reference, when I call out really nitpicky details, that means everything else is actually pretty good. So I don't have a lot that I'm giving you any like major feedback on. I'm really loving what you did. Actually, yeah, I think I am going to promote like this video by showing like what a clever way to show without breaking an NDA. I've actually got to send this over to someone else who was recently talking about NDA work. Love. Really good job, Reid. Okay, so it wasn't without challenges. Main roadblocks came from verification of the data sanity checks. I promise you that is the biggest roadblock from working with data, is figuring out how to flag the appropriate data without flagging data that isn't like inappropriate. This is so awesome. Okay, so given the scope, it took around 2 weeks to write up the testing specs. That is honestly like pretty quick. Testing specs and verify them, really good work. Fleet manager sign off, obviously very busy, hesitant to dedicate the time required to confirm the new functionality on their end. That is also huge. This is change management. So the fact that this person is already so swamped and you are creating something that is specifically meant to reduce their time, but because they're so swamped and strapped for time that they were even hesitant to try the new project, this is huge. I love this. This is why I partnered with them and walked them through the processes over many meetings. Sometimes holding the customer's hand and leading them is required. Reid, this is so good. I'm being a weirdo right now, but like I would kind of call this out with like a little bit of a visual or something, because most projects that I see from people at your level that have attempted to work in the real world or on a real world project, they don't recognize some of the things that are only really known to people who have spent some time in the industry. So the fact that you had to like really partner with them because they were so swamped, in order to get them to uptake this product that you designed for them, that's normal. It takes several touch points for any human to create facility and knowledge around a new piece of technology or hardware or something that empowers them to do their work in a different way. So I'm not saying you didn't do enough here or that you didn't share enough. I just wish I could shout from the rooftops how important that really is. That hesitancy to adopt a new process is insurmountable in some cases. There are products that have failed because they could not convince their users to even try it out or to allow it to take some of that burden off of them. God, I'm loving this. Measuring success, audit logging. The system automatically logged certain actions like user logins and database record creation. So not only could we quickly verify if the service provider techs were logging into the system, but which ones were using the new workflow. You're going to take that H out, and which had more or fewer data issues. Our customer had KPIs to track user logins and who had the most errors and where those errors were happening the most. This is something you could probably break down into a little bit more bullet point to make it a little bit easier to consume, but this is actually, honestly, really good information. If you have KPIs to track user logins, were you able to validate that people with the most errors had significantly reduced errors over time? If you're not still working with this company and it seems like it's kind of a small company, so you might not still be, and it looks like it was 2022, doesn't matter. That would be very, very interesting to get some results on. This significantly reduced the error rate for some of the most egregious error makers. Yes. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So if I had this project to do all over again, I would utilize AI and LLM in the data verification process. I would give a couple more words on that because it feels like you're just throwing out the AI, and what I think you really mean is machine learning. So ML, not LLM, language learning module, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But how would you use that as a designer and developer in order to empower your workflow? Records would still be flagged, but machine learning, yeah, that's exactly what you mean. But machine learning could be used to best guess the correct answer and save time for the users. That's fantastic. You've got your call outs to check out other projects down here, and you do in fact have your privacy statement. Reid, this looks fantastic. I think the only thing that I would give a tiny bit of feedback for, another little nitpicky thing, is how small these links are up here. This probably does not pass. Oh gosh, don't do that. This probably does not pass. Font size is 0.75 rem. So it should never be, for accessibility's sake, it should be at least 14 pixels. And that is, I've been reading into accessibility and CSS pixels versus points of size. And that goes back to an old print kind of thing. And it really depends on your dots per inch, your DPI. All of this data is basically to say, make your font size a little bit bigger, and that would make everything feel a little bit more. It just feels a little blown out of proportion for this to be so large, and then your menu to be so small. Also, just because I didn't drop this menu down earlier in order to see this, but that is inaccessible. So change that text to white on that purple if it's going to show what page you're on, which is great. I am super excited. What does that say? Find mobile app. Yeah. Make it so that you can actually read that text on here. This is awesome. I'm so impressed. 8 minutes. You probably reviewed this. Dude, Reid, I'm so excited to share this video because I think you've done a fantastic job presenting yourself. Interesting that opened in a new tab. I would also make this just a little bit more visible. If anything, I would put that icon to the left and make this text really big and put a little space between the icon and your contact information. But I think you're doing fantastic. I love this. I'm so excited to see your success. thank you for giving me the opportunity to review your portfolio. I'm going to drop some comments and some takeaways in the video description, but I would love to hear from anybody who has watched this video. What did you take away? What would you change? What are your thoughts? I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.